afternoon, good evening, good day, good night to all of our viewers. First of all, I want to thank you very much for being here and for listening to this. So I am Michelle Vincent. I am the principal of the Thorburn School of Astrology, and I'm doing this full moon update on my own because my beautiful colleague Thea is right in the middle of family stuff, in the midst of moving and all the rest of it. And basically her life is in chaos. So hence you've just got me today. And first of all, I'm not 100% sure that I want to apologize for the fact that this is late, in the sense that the full moon in Aries did happen on the 17th of October. So that was on Thursday. And the reason why I'm not quite sure whether I want to apologize is because I was going through a little bit of a crisis, in the sense of, do we continue giving you information that is really what any other astrologer is saying at the moment in terms of the astrological side of things? Or do I want to look at making this more personal to each and every one of us, so that we can understand more about what is happening in our lives at the moment? I think you will all agree that there is a great amount of chaos happening in our world right now. There's a great amount happening within ourselves right now. And today I'm going to experiment. And in this experimentation, I am going to really and truly look at what could be going on in your life at the moment and how you can actually begin to change this. So to not let the astrology not have a face, I want to share the screen, and on sharing the screen, I want to bring up the chart for the full moon. And I think one of the things that we really need, so this is a full moon and it's happening at 24 degrees of Aries. A full moon is always going to be opposite the sun. So the sun is sitting in Libra and the full moon is sitting in Aries. Now the moon represents your emotions, your unconscious mind, that which is hidden. It can also represent your shadow side. And Aries is all about, it's the first sign of the zodiac, so it's all about initiative and energy and action and excitement. And there's almost like a childlike wonder that comes with the Aries. This represents a new beginning. If there was a sign of the zodiac that actually represented a new beginning, it would be Aries. So that is fixed. So what I want to actually emphasize here is that we had the first solar eclipse happened in April of this year. And I want all of our viewers to just take a moment and just think of your life in the last 6 months and what you might have gone through. And some of the things that you might have gone through is you might have been suddenly faced with situations that you thought you had long time resolved. And if you didn't resolve them, they were suddenly back in your space again. This could be with people. This could be within a job situation. This could be with children. This could be with parents. This could be with health. This could be with finances. This could be with your daily working routine. For myself, I have found that the last 6 months has just brought up a huge amount of stuff that I thought I had been laid to rest. And I've been sitting with this question about, why is that the case? What is this all about? And in fact, it hasn't been easy to go through it. In fact, it's been very, very difficult. And there are some mean things from the past and beliefs from the past that I have actually had to contend with. And all I knew as I was going through it, and this might help our viewers, all I knew as I was going through it is that I mustn't react in the way that I have in the past. I must rather keep counsel, I must rather hold back, and I must rather try and figure out myself in the quagmire of whatever happening was within the environment or the situation that I found myself. And there's two things that have happened as a result of me doing this. The one thing that has happened is that I have been able to really look within myself and really begin to understand the concept that I'm a co-creator with the infinite, that my thoughts, my perceptions, my beliefs, my values it's the pivotal point of what is happening around me. And whether that's an old belief, an old obsolete, stagnant belief system that was sitting in my life, it was forced to come out. It was forced to come out, and I had to look at it. And it was about taking it. In fact, if we have been told for the last 4 years to take responsibility for ourselves and be accountable, this took responsibility and accountability to a next level, as far as I'm concerned, because within this process, because I had to focus everything on myself and not react to the situation that was outside of myself, I also had to look at my shadow. I also had to look at that part of myself that is perhaps overreactive, etc., etc. So I have been quite intrigued with the fact that the last 6 months, and there's very few people that I'm talking to at the moment who haven't experienced a huge shift in their life in the last 6 months, where obsolete beliefs, stagnant ideas, relationships, anything that's been stagnant and old and obsolete and it no longer serves you. All of these things seem to have come up for us to have a relook at. And this new moon is telling, this full moon is telling me that we've actually reached a critical point in changing this. And why do I say this? Because this full moon is in Aries. Aries is the initiator. Aries is the pioneer. Aries is the new direction. That project that you've never had the courage to actually get up and go out into the world. We've been given the courage by Mars right now. We are being invited to actually have the courage to bring that which we felt was not good enough into the front, to make it more known. And then we've got Pluto over here, because this moon is also making a square to Pluto. And this Pluto-Mars opposition, being square to the moon, Pluto is the excavator. Pluto is the one that dives deep and goes deep into the unconscious. And that's what I'm saying. Everything about us, we're not able to escape that which we need to look at, that which no longer serves us. And we've got a choice within this matter. The choice is either we stand up and we take a stand in our life and we start becoming the creator. We start taking control of how we think about things, how we react to things. We start taking control, as opposed to just being this cork top that's floating in a tsunami of sea, that it just goes whichever way the waves are taking us. So it's a very challenging time. It is a very challenging time, but it's a very challenging time filled with optimism and new beginnings. It's very much about our relationship with ourselves. And the other day I was visiting, and somebody said to me, what is it all about, this relationship with ourselves as opposed to our relationship with other people? And that in order to become a self-master or a self-sovereign, we are, doesn't that make us selfish? Doesn't that make us not care about other people. Well, all I can say to you is the following. I'm still working on the words to describe how this shift is actually happening. But by practicing self-mastery, by becoming self-sovereign, by becoming independent, by actually realizing that everything in your life, actually the happiness, the joy, the sadness, the challenges, the perceptions that nobody loves us, being alone, lack of abundance, I haven't got enough. All of this comes from our own minds and our own perceptions based on perhaps what we've been taught in this lifetime and perhaps what we've been brought through from previous lifetimes. And even there, I'm going to say to you, everything is being wiped clean. Where we really have to start realizing that with this grand square between the sun at 24 degrees and Pluto at 29 degrees and the moon at 24 degrees and Mars at 22 degrees, this forms a grand square. It's a grand cardinal square. Cardinal signs being Aries, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. The cardinal signs are all the initiators. They are the initiating signs. That is really relevant about the new beginning. But because it's a square, there's the implication that we are locked into situations, and this might give us the perception of us being helpless. We don't know what to do. The truth is, we don't know what to do in terms of the old paradigm, in terms of the old beliefs, reactions, behaviors, thoughts that we've had about these situations in the past. There we go. If we want to go back to what's happened to us in the past and try and apply the same formula, we are going to become even more stuck than what we feel right now. But one of the things with a grand square, which is very challenging, but it's the challenges that actually help us to grow. And I remember years ago learning this, that when there's a grand square, when you're busy running around trying to solve the problem and trying to get everything right and all the rest of it, you just get deeper and deeper and deeper into it. But if you rise above the square and what is happening, and you see it from a higher perspective, you start seeing it from a spiritual perspective, where you start looking down, and suddenly that's the key to our freedom. And what is so beautiful about this new moon is that we still have this trine that is happening with Neptune over here. Neptune is trine Mars, which is trine. It's no, which is trine to Venus. So we've still got this grand trine. Now, as soon as we've got a grand trines bring good fortune, bring ease. It's lack of tension. It's the complete opposite of the square. And it's happening in water signs. Water signs are our emotions. Water signs represent spiritual. Okay. So we've been given, the universe is giving us this spiritual key to each and every one of us to actually unlock the situations that we are in, to allow us to actually start seeing things from a different perspective. When we try and understand self-mastery and self-sovereignty, and we try and understand it in terms of I need to be independent, it's all about me, it's all about everything that's happening to me. According to the old paradigm, that does seem very, very selfish. But according to the new paradigm, according to the new earth, according to 5D consciousness, according to consciousness, is that it all starts with you. It starts with your thoughts, your ideas, your way of looking at things, your perceptions, and whether that's positive or negative then dictates how you are actually going to go out into the world and manifest that thought, idea, whatever. And that goes through our behavior, through our words, etc. So think about it for a moment. We are the creators of our lives, and it's all what's happening over here. It's all about that which we have learned. And so right now, this this full moon in Aries is giving us this beautiful opportunity to really challenge the stagnant beliefs, ideas, conditioning, and really begin to break out of it. And yes, you are the instrument in all of this. It is all about you. When all things change, this is just something that I would like you to think about. All things change when you change. And I know that that's a big one, but I've just recently put that to practice. In fact, I've been putting this in practice since 2010, where I learned a concept called Ho'oponopono. And I found, because that's very much how I started my journey in terms of understanding that I was the creator of everything that happened around me, and how one has to take responsibility for it. So I started this journey then, and then there were situations that I had at the time that were causing me deep hurt and deep pain and deep unhappiness, and I didn't know what to do because I was stuck. And I actually started this practice of Ho'oponopono. And without me saying one word to the people or the relationship or the job situation that was happening around me, suddenly things began to change. And unfortunately, because we are all human, we go through this incredible period of revelation where we prove these things to ourselves, and then somehow we forget it. And then we come back and revisit it, and then we forget it, and then we come back and revisit it. So each time we revisit, I believe that we revisit it on a higher level, like the spiral goes up like that. So each time we might revisit something, we're doing it from a slightly different level of consciousness to what we have done in the past. And now, recently, in these last 6 months, again, it's been that whole thing of that when I change how I look at, perceive, react to a situation, when I keep my counsel and don't do anything, okay, but sort out my emotions, my thoughts, my beliefs, my perceptions, it automatically changes. So think about it for a minute. All things change when we change. And because this full moon is in Aries and is part of a grand cross brings tension and challenges, and tension and challenges is what assists us to grow. That is the key to our growth. And by embracing, not doing away with, embracing these challenges, we are really beginning to implement change. But the change comes within. And as we, each and every one of us, change within, we're going to actually have an effect of changing the world. And we're going to have an effect of changing the world. The other thing that I would really, and this full moon for me is a new beginning. It's in Aries. It's in October. October is the 8th month. 8 is the infinity sign. Infinity is about abundance. It's about how do we live? How, as human beings, do we live in this world? We do live in an abundant universe. We are in October. There is this full moon in Aries, together with Pluto and Mars are actually very instrumental right now. They are putting us into the cosmic pressure cooker, and they are intensifying emotions, desires. We've got to be a little bit careful of that Mars in Cancer, because it could be very overreactive to situations. It could be very passive aggressive to people, to loved ones, especially family members, our countries, and so on and so forth. It could be very, very possessive. We need to be very mindful and conscious of our behavior and our reactions to people. We are in a pressure cooker, but it's a pressure cooker of change. It's a pressure cooker of actually getting into a new beginning. And Mars is giving us the courage. It's giving us the courage to face our fears, and to actually look at changing things in our lives. But we just need to take a breath before we do anything, because it can be very reactive. Right now, we are rewriting our story. So, folks, from this full moon, and without going astrological into it, what is the story you want to write? And now is the time to begin to believe in that story. It's a story of your own creation. Know that you are the answer to all of your problems. If you go within and you take away all the stuff in terms of other people around you and you find your essence, you will find the answer within you to all of your solutions. Your lack of anything, happiness, joy, money, resources, your company, your lack of anything has to do with the fact that you keep looking at your life and you keep looking for the answers outside of yourself. It is not that time. The new beginning, the initiative of Aries, start doing it differently. And the way that you need to do that is that you need to get rid of all the old value systems, belief systems, that which is obsolete, stagnant, that which no longer serves you. And one of the astrologers that I've looked at, but I just forget her name right now, keeps talking about be in right relationship with yourself and with others. And again, because the sun is in Libra and it's opposite Aries, so the sun in Libra is all about relationships, and the moon in Aries is all about self, right? Wow, what a seesaw! What a seesaw between the relationships that we need to have because they also grow us as people, as well as the individuality and the self-sovereignty of self. Two very opposing things, but it's the very belief that they are opposite to each other and that the one has to fight the other that actually gives us the tension. The key is be in right relationship with both of them. Be, first of all, in right relationship with yourself. Okay, what's going on within you? Is it a perception? Is it a belief? I can tell you that the hell that I've just been through, I must say that the other person that was party to all of this, they were behaving in the way that they were behaving. That caused me a huge amount of concern. And it was like, well, I should go and speak to this person and tell them that they can't treat me like this and they can't do this. And again, can you see how much I was like, I needed to speak to them so that they could see how much they were hurting me. And as I say, it just kept coming up. Say nothing, say nothing, deal with this. Because I knew that if I said something, it was just going to go into an old paradigm. It was just going to go into an old way of behavior. And if anything, I was determined to not do that. And I'm so grateful that I listened to my intuition. And on that note of intuition, please understand that with Neptune being in Pisces, we've got to pay attention to our intuition. We also have to really and truly look at this grand trine in water signs, where we need to start understanding that our intuition is there to be trusted. It's not there to sideline us, to put us off course. It's to be trusted. But because we've had so much difficulty in trusting ourselves and rather trusting others outside of ourselves, we're a little bit skeptical about our intuition. Oh, maybe it's my imagination or something like that. Stop. Listen to your intuition. And again, final word, is that we've got Chiron, the wounded healer, is sitting within 3 degrees of this full moon. And Chiron is coming along again. The universe is really working in our favor at the moment because Chiron is coming along and it's really giving us the opportunity. Where did I write Chiron? It's really giving us this incredible opportunity to heal, um, to heal of all our past hurts, our past beliefs that life is unfair, that life is not right, that life is out of sync, that life is not balanced. Other people are more lucky than what we are. The truth of the matter is right now, we all have a very special purpose to fulfill. We are here for a reason. And that special purpose that we are here to fulfill, don't minimize it. Don't make it into absolutely nothing. We all have a role to play. We all have a gift. The world that we have lived in up until now has actually not invited us to embrace our gift. It has not invited us to actually honor the inner side of ourselves. We've been asked to honor everything that's been external to ourselves, and somehow we got lost in the formula. And I'm really and truly asking you, Chiron is coming along. It is also in Aries. It's saying to you, here is the courage to face the demons that you haven't had the courage to face up until now. And I think the best way that I can describe the healing quality of Chiron in Aries is going to be by way of a personal example. So I hope you can all indulge me in this. Earlier this year, I was invited to something that was called On Mic, where it was a group of women that got together. It wasn't quite a public speaking. It was something to do with just being able to talk to an audience and sort of thing. And I said, put my hand up and said, yeah, I'd like to talk. And I didn't really know what I wanted to talk about. And what happened was that I did get up and talk. One of the things that I said is that at the age 50 years ago, at the age of 17, I was introduced to astrology and I loved it. I loved it. I had this natural ability towards it. I just seemed to know exactly what was going on, and I absolutely loved astrology. I did it for the next 13 years, not as a career, but as a very strong hobby. And I learned and I did whatever I could at that point in time to learn astrology. And every time I tried to be an astrologer, the world was so against me. The world at that stage in the 1970s and the early 80s vilified astrology. They made it bad. They made it evil. They made it like you were practicing Satanism. You were practicing the black arts. You were practicing negative, almost like negative witchcraft. I don't know what to say. It was horrible. And I'm a Virgo. And Virgos are very puritanical, and it's like, well, one of their qualities, I mean, it can go either way, but it was like, it was too much for my little soul to be labeled evil. And in a way, I then stepped out of doing astrology because my external environment made it too difficult for me. It was like in such conflict with something that was natural to me. It was my gift, okay? And the world made my gift bad, made it negative. And this was very hard for me to swallow. So when I picked up astrology full time again in 2016, I still was reluctant. In fact, if anything, I've always described myself as the reluctant astrologer. And because I didn't know that unconsciously I was holding on to this vilification that society had made about my gift. I didn't realize that. And that started, there was a peephole into it when I did this talk in March, April this year, round about that solar eclipse in Aries. And since then, there's been this beautiful unfolding for me where now, for the first time in my life, when I started it at 17, I was naive. I didn't know that it was not something that everybody loved and that everybody could do. I was very naive. I then found out that it was vilified. And now I've come back to it and I'm prepared to stand up in my gift no matter what the world outside of me says. Okay. Now, is this because of my age that I've actually reached that point? No. I would say it's the conscious realization, Pluto excavates deep down. It's the conscious realization that I stopped myself from doing astrology because my outside world made it wrong. And therefore, possibly inside myself, I made it wrong as well. This is definitely an unconscious, obsolete belief, stagnant, that has actually prevented me from living my best life. Can I blame anybody? No, because I was the orchestra of this. I, like all of us, or like the majority of us have done up until now, has been about listening to what the outside world told us. So with this full moon in Aries, with this grand square in cardinal signs, with Chiron the healer being very, very close to the moon, with this beautiful trine in the water signs giving us the intuition. If ever there was a beautiful cosmic message in the universe, it's this. It's time to start that project that you've consistently put off, whether it's a project, whether it's a relationship, whatever it is in your life. Embrace this time, especially now. Embrace these next 6 months. We've just come out of eclipse season. Eclipse season works for the next 6 months. Whatever you set in place now, just observe your life over the next 6 months. So on that note, I am going to actually love and leave you. All I'd like to say to our viewers is the following. If you have enjoyed this way of doing things, if you have enjoyed this interpretation of the full moon in Aries, and a slightly different way of doing it, please let us know. And if this has been of value to you, please let us know. And if at all possible, it would be wonderful if you could share it. We thank you so very, very much for joining us. Please like our channel. We are trying to get out there and actually be more hands-on astrologers in terms of how can astrology work with you to help you live your best life. Take care, and until we next see you again in the next new moon, and the next new moon is going to be in Scorpio. Yes, it's going to be in Scorpio. So on that note, take care. Oh, I'm not 100% sure there. Maybe, but we'll get together for the next new moon. On that note, bye-bye, and have a wonderful week, and enjoy exploring and finding your own beautiful uniqueness. Love you lots, and take care. Bye.